Hey folks, just one more second. Why is this sound not working? Oh, that's why. To there. But you can let me know in chat whether you can hear me or not. Hopefully so. And there we go. I can hear myself now, which is good. Let me know in chat if you can hear me. Apologize for the huge delay getting this started. Welcome to the show? Not a show. Still trying to figure out how I want to start this thing. I don't even think I need to start it. Anyway, thank you for being patient with me, and welcome. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear me. Sorry about that. So I use OBS. It's open broadcast software, and what I'm trying to do is be able to do these live streams for coding and then a live stream for gaming. But for gaming, I use Twitch, and for coding, I use YouTube. And I thought that you could switch profiles, but apparently when I switched profiles and made it the Twitch profile, it completely wiped my YouTube profile. So I had to get all that set back up. And for some reason, the stream key wasn't working that they gave me. And so I had to do a single use stream key, and it's been just a mess this morning, or I guess this afternoon. But I got it working now, and I appreciate y'all being patient with me. And so just want to say hi and ask how y'all are doing. I'll be watching the chat room. It's over there, so if you see me glance over there, that's where it is. And so yeah, say hi and everything like that. Today, what I wanted to cover is I've been using the Cucumber framework lately, and not reporters, under frameworks. We've got the Cucumber framework. And one thing that I use with it is, under reporters, I use Allure. And Allure is a really neat tool, open source tool that is fairly easy to get started with, I think. Nowadays, they've got a little download that you can do and build out your Allure report, which, if we go to the demo report, looks like. Loads. It looks like this. So it's got some information about tests that have passed, been skipped, broken, things like that. And you can get into more information. Now, one thing about this reporter is that it has these suites, these test suites, and you can name them. So if you want to look at a specific test suite, you can go to it and then see what that test suite involves. So we have an overview of all the steps in that test suite. The issue that I'm running into is when I combine this with Cucumber, it's reporting each feature as a suite. I think that's it. And where it's reporting steps, something isn't quite matching up there. And so what I wanted to do today is take a look at if we can adjust that in the Allure framework, because there's a little, the way that the reporters work, and we'll jump over to under test runner. If you go to custom reporter, you have these events that you can trigger, and it'll let you know when your test has started, if your test has ended, when your test has passed, things like that. So and then you've got a suite start, and suite end, test start, test end, things like that. I already mentioned that. And so if we go into the Cucumber framework, which would be WebdriverIO Cucumber framework, why is it running so slow? Okay, and then in the lib folder, library folder, there's this thing called a hook runner. And I was looking at this the other day, and what it does is it's got these before scenario, before feature, and then before step. So it'll run these hooks before each of these actions occurs. And let me see if I can. Okay, so it's not actually in here that it does it. This is where it kind of hooks it up. So what we actually want is the reporter, I think. Okay, so here, handle before step. So before each step, and I should, if you're unfamiliar with Cucumber, let's see if I can pull up a Cucumber example. Sites, no, WebdriverIO Wednesdays. And then Cucumber boilerplate, and we're going to go into the source code, into features, and we'll just look at attribute feature. So we have a feature that gets defined at the top of the file, only one feature per file. Then you have scenarios. You can have multiple scenarios. And then you have your steps. So here's a bunch of then steps, but you can also have a given step and a when step. And so when feature gets called before feature, we emit a sweet start. And then before each scenario, we also emit a sweet start. And then before each step, we emit a test start. So in here, what I was thinking is instead of each step emitting a test start, we would have the scenario emit a test start. And then just kind of leave the steps alone. Don't actually emit anything for them, because they're normally not all that important. Open login form, login, yeah. So each step is kind of a small item compared to the bigger items of the features and the scenarios. So what I want to do today, oh, sorry, got something stuck in my throat. What I want to do today is basically edit this Cucumber framework repo and change this over. And it should be a small change, just changing, well, yeah, this is going to stay the same. This is going to get changed. And then, sorry, feature is going to stay the same. Scenario is going to get changed to test start. And then before step is going to get basically deleted. We're just going to delete this whole handle before step item because we're not all that concerned with it. Now it's going to get a little bit tricky because we need the scenario to know whether it passed or failed. So let me see if there's like a handle after scenario in here. Yes, there is. So this emits a sweet end. Basically, I want to, and I don't know, sweet end. It doesn't say whether it passed or failed in here. Duration type, parent, and title. So we're going to need to figure out from these events whether the sweet passed or failed in our reporter and everything. So what I'm going to start out with is, I think, let's see, let's write some notes. Okay, so I need to have a Cucumber repo with Allure Reporter set up. I'm going to need to clone the WebdriverIO Cucumber framework and npm link it. And then I'm going to need to update framework, use the new event. So the first thing I need to do is get a Cucumber repo with Allure Reporter set up. And I don't know if I have one already. So I'm going to go into my WebdriverIO Wednesdays. And let's see, WebdriverIO Cucumber, what's in here? Okay, so we do have a feature. I think this is the one I'm going to use, this Cucumber repo that I built a while back in a previous video. I could use this Cucumber boilerplate, but it comes with a lot of stuff that I probably don't want to open up right now. So I'm going to open up that. I'll close you and you. And then here's our configuration file for our Cucumber repo. Just looking through it to see, let's see, we're testing the WebdriverIO homepage. And then what specifically are we testing in there? Yeah, we wrote this little thing that goes to the API page and checks some information on there. And I bet we could write a couple more of these if we want to. But before doing that, let's see, we got the framework. We're going to add the Allure Reporter to this. And so to do that, I'm going to open a new terminal shell. One thing I'd like to upgrade with my setup is, so I do all my coding and the streaming on the same computer, which is a laptop. It's a MacBook. And it's not quite powerful enough to handle all of that. I couldn't imagine trying to play games on there or trying to stream games too. So I want to get an external capture card so that I can output the video from my laptop to the to another computer. That's the one that does all the streaming stuff. That would be great, but I need to save up for that one first. Okay. So if you see it running a little bit slow, that's why. Now I'm going to assume this works. Let's just run an npm test just to double check that it works. And while it does that, I'll open a new tab. Not there. New tab. And I'm going to install the Allure Reporter and get that set up. Probably shouldn't tap because you can probably hear it because my microphone is hooked up to my desk to hold it up. Okay, npm install. One thing that you probably don't need to do anymore is this save. In the latest versions of Node, I've noticed that it or npm, I've noticed that it automatically saves it for you, but I'll just do that anyway. Allure Reporter, that's still running. This is really going to slow down my machine, installing something while also running a test while also streaming. Yeah. Anybody have any questions while all this runs? Because this is going to take a little bit of time to go through. So if you have any questions unrelated to this, like a quick little question about WebdriverIO or anything like that, feel free to throw it out there in the chat room. Missing a binary. How is that? I might have to completely reinstall this because sometimes I install it on, I have to work on multiple versions of Node just because some projects are in older versions. And so when I switch versions of Node, it also completely eradicates my my npm install. So now I have to do rmn, which is a shortcut I have for removing my node modules, and then I'll run npm install. Let's bring that up, and then I'm also going to shorten this so that's a little bit higher in the page. So basically I'm going to remove my node modules directory. That's rm space -rf for recursive and force space node underscore modules. That's what that RMN stands for, and it just deletes that directory so that it can reinstall everything. Yeah. Okay, while that's running, I'm going to add the Allure Reporter over here. And I don't think there's much else. I've got a little bit here. Yeah, there's not much else there. to this file. We got that set up, we got that. And so I'm gonna run this test, make sure it works, and then I'm gonna generate the Allure report so you can kind of see what I was talking about. There was a question about where does WebdriverIO set the default browser window size. Browser window, I don't think. So in your capabilities, you can set your screen resolution, but I don't think you can set the browser window size in there. I can't remember. Let's see, not under there. It's under, if I go to usage and not configuration, usage. In here, I'm looking for my capabilities. Maybe it shows in here. Let's see. Yeah, that's still downloading. I think it's just a default size that gets opened. That's what I would guess. But what I'm curious is, can we update that to be a specific, more specific setting? There is the set window size. I think set window handle size. And with that, you can change the size of the browser. But you would need to know what the screen resolution size is from there. Let me see what else is under window. Window handle full screen, maximize. That's probably what you want. Now the trouble is you're going to have to figure out the window handle. Although it does say that it's optional. So let's look at the source code. Did this ever load? No, it's like it started loading and then it just died out. It's actually a pretty common question, is how do you, why did it jump to the pull requests? How do you set the window size? I've seen that a lot, so that's actually a really good question to ask. Because a lot of times when you're testing inside of like Sauce Labs or something, and it's not running on your local computer, and sometimes that window size can be messed up. Okay, so in window handle maximize, it takes the window handle is set, it defaults to current. I guess that's that's like a keyword for the current window. I didn't realize that was there. And then it creates a request to send to Selenium, and it just asks it to maximize. Let's see, and that's in there. So that's how you could maximize it. You could wrap that, you could actually throw that in your before function, or before suite probably is what you'd want. You do window dot something. Window handle maximize. Now, let's jump back and see these. Finally loaded. Okay, desired capabilities. And then while we're there, I'll just jump over here. Browser name, version, platform. see anything in here that would be there for window size. I'm thinking the best option you're going to have is just running that before. Okay, so there is a start maximized option in Chrome. And the way you would add that is under, not there, go up to here. And then if I remember correctly, it's just Chrome options. And then you would say start maximized. Copy that. And I believe we'll set it to true. And that would be my guess as to set Chrome to start maximized. We'll give it a shot when we run this test. But let's see, start maximize. Is there anything else? Args. I don't know if this would also work for Firefox. Yeah, looks like you do have to call the window maximize after it gets started. But with Chrome, you can pass in a start maximized option. So that's what I would say as far as making sure that it's maximized. Either pass in that start maximized in the default in arguments, or in your before hook, just maximize it. That's my recommendation. Let's see this installed. Let's try running it again. And let me see, I don't see it popping up yet. Man, this is taking a while to get started. What can I mention while I get that started? You know, I could come over here and go out one, and then I can do a Git Clone. And what I'm going to clone is this Cucumber framework. Get that going. So if you've never cloned a framework or forked it, this is how you would edit an open source project to make changes to it. So we're going to fork. Sure. There we go. I don't know if that's actually going to work. Yeah. It's not the right address. Try that one. Okay. Just for security's sake, I'll move that off the screen while I authenticate. Okay, and then I'll go back to here. I didn't like that option. I wonder if it would like start maximized. Sometimes it prefers it that way. I'm surprised that it would error out just because it didn't have a Chrome, or it had a Chrome option that it didn't recognize. I'm a little surprised. I think I would have thought it just would have run and ignored it. Maybe it's not a bad thing that it errors out, because that way at least you know that you have something wrong. Yeah, okay. So now I can, refresh the page. So you're looking at an Allure report that's steps get listed out of order. How interesting. Maybe that's part of this issue. Oh, I keep forgetting to refresh the page because this has me signed in as my alternative, which it's not. I'm not signed in as Camping Master. Why is this causing me so much grief? Yeah, see, I'm signed in here. How'd this do? Same issue. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of that option. That is a good thing for me to look into later, is how to get that option to work. I might have Chrome options wrong, although it seems that it's okay with, yeah, unrecognized Chrome option. So it seems like Chrome options is right. Oh no. Someone emailed to the questions@learnwebdriverio.com and the email bounced. That's not good. That's not good at all. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Me at clamp.in. You can reach me there. But I'll take a look at that. That's not the first time I've heard that, and I thought I fixed it, but you know, you try to be fancy with getting your email addresses all nice and sorted out. And oh, I didn't want to fork that. Not that one. And then, you know, little things break. Okay, so to fork this, let's try this again. We hit fork. Hey, it looks like our test is running. Hit fork. This is how, actually, oh, dang it. I didn't want to fork it under that one. That's fine. I'll leave it there. I was going to do it under my WebdriverIO Wednesdays. That way it's, yeah, let's do that. Go back. That way I can share it and everybody can see it in one spot. So all the old code from my other Wednesday videos are available in this repo if it ever loads. This one, okay, so now it's loaded. I forked it. I can do my clone. So I'll copy that address. I'll come over here and I'll do my git clone and paste. And that's going to clone, or basically download, the source code for Cucumber Framework. With that source code, I'm going to do Sublime Text ST is my short thing for Sublime Text. And then I'll edit that reporter. I think it was in reporter. Yeah, so we're going to edit that. The other thing I need to do before running anything else is I'm going to run my install, and it looked like my test finished. I got one failing of undefined. What does that even mean? It loaded the URL and then just did nothing. That's strange. This is just a mess today. When in doubt, run it again? I wonder if streaming is having issues. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to change my encoding, which is fun. Why are you full screen now? I didn't press that. Really, I'm gonna have to get a separate streaming box. Basic feature, and let's open up. Given I go to the home page, yeah, I go to the API. So where did it even fail? Like it didn't, I go to the API, undefined. Why do I have a done in here? Oh, why do I have dones in here? Where the heck did those come from? I don't even know what it would be calling. That's probably why I have the undefined. That is weird. What in the world was I writing? And then this format, I've got a debug, then debug done. Oh, there it is, right here. This is like a callback format. So that's where done comes from. This dot given. I wonder if this has changed. So that's basic.js. Let's see how it gets loaded. If I go down to my Cucumber options, yeah, I require test steps basic. But what's odd is that this is not how I normally write my Cucumber steps anymore. Normally I do a nowadays instead of a this.given function given, that's different. Let's see how my tested. Yeah, same issue. So it looks like I need to fix this up real quick. So I can do a const, and then Cucumber recently changed where you can do your given, and I really like this change. Then when you can just require it from Cucumber. You do need to ensure that you're on a newer version of Node. This argument destructuring, I think it's called destructuring of some sort. This is only on newer versions of Node, but it allows us to get these steps from the Cucumber codebase. But in order to do that, even though I have Cucumber, the framework installed, it would be good to manually install it just to make sure that it is always installed when we run that. And then from there, I can change this to just be given. And I believe they're capital G's, like capital letters. And then I believe I can get rid of done as well. See, I thought this was going to be like a super simple little demo of how to make a open source commit, and it turns out I've got to like completely rewrite all my code. Get rid of that. Get my alignment fixed up. I wonder why I was using that. I know this is an asynchronous call, but I I've been writing it to where it doesn't need to have that kind of done thing. Yeah, Zoo, the Chrome capabilities start maximized. I wasn't able to get it working either. I don't know why it's throwing a fit on that. Okay, so that's installing. Under steps, we load the steps. Cucumber options. I want to check something real quick. Okay, load it in there. Okay. I was checking on another project to make sure that this format is what I've been using. So I'm expecting that this will work now. I still can't remember why I had it set. Yeah, so done. When we call the given function in Cucumber, so this is defining a step in Cucumber, and this page here gets mapped to whatever you pass in there. And then you can also get a second argument, which is your done function that Cucumber, when this step is called, it's going to call this function. And so it's going to pass in whatever was defined here and then a done function that you can call. I don't think it's needed though. So, okay, that's installed. Let's try running this. If you ever need to prove to a boss why this is like complicated, just have them watch this video and have them try to figure out why this says undefined and see if they can figure that out on their own. And then if not, be like, okay, just comment with the why is this so difficult? I thought this was supposed to make things easy for us. Well, it's supposed to take away the boring parts of testing. In my opinion, I don't like doing the boring parts of testing. So, conflicting version of stack chain found. Wow, I think I'm gonna have to reinstall my node modules again, because that's how it goes. You have to reinstall things again and again. So I might be on a really old version of Cucumber Framework, by the way. Let's see what version is the latest. If we go to package.json, yeah. That's a very old version that I'm on. So that's one issue that I'm running into, is that I'm on an older version of that. I'm on a decent version of WebdriverIO. Cucumber I just installed, so that's fine. Mocha framework I can actually get rid of. Selenium standalone service I could probably update as well. I didn't set up Babel. There was a question in the chat room about did I set up Babel. No, I didn't. It's nice, but it's just a little bit extra to get set up, and I don't really want to go through that. I mean, I'm having a hard enough time as it is right now. Okay, so version 9. Having a hard enough time as it is right now to get all that set up. So the question is the destructuring up? Oh yeah. Sorry, up here. This is part of ES6, but Node.js has support for destructuring. Right now, it doesn't have support for the import something from that. So that's what we would use Babel for. There's also like defaults. I don't know if you saw in here, not in here, in that WebdriverIO page, it had a default parameter. In there, what was I going to say? You can set a default parameter, but that's through Babel. I don't think that's supported in Node. Okay, so I'm updating my Selenium service as well, and then I'm going to, we'll just leave that there. I don't think that should matter. Go back over here and then run my, and I'll just type this out, and npm I. So that's going to remove my node modules directory and then reinstall it. And when I reinstall it, it's actually going to, normally you see Cucumber Framework would install Cucumber, but because I have it defined here, it's gonna not worry about that. And let's see what Cucumber Framework has for their 2.3. That's going to be different from 4.0. I wonder if that's going to be an issue. But yeah, they use Babel in here to change some stuff up. But you see they also use this sync repo. And so that's what allows us to write those these functions as synchronous. Oh, interesting. Undefined might be because I don't have Babel set up. Could be. One thing I can do is once that gets set up, I can actually run node basic.js. Okay, so node, let's see, test steps basic. This is just going to run that file. It's not actually going to do anything. It's going to pretend to set up Cucumber. I mean, it's actually going to set up Cucumber, but it's going to ignore. It's going to basically destroy everything. Yeah, that looks interesting. Path must be a string, received undefined. It shouldn't care that we're using browser, even though WebdriverIO hasn't set up browser because we're running it straight through Node. It shouldn't actually run any of this code, so it should be fine there. Let me see. Where is this error coming from? On line 3, here. Is it saying that this needs to be a string? I'm going to push that down, and I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right issue. Yeah, so it's down to 7. So it's saying that the path must be a string. Maybe it doesn't like that part? Line 3, no, that's still an issue. What happens if I just comment all this out and run it again? Then it has it at 13. When? So it's not an issue with this, it's an issue with that. But I'm loading it the same way that I load everything else in my other tests, and my other tests work fine. I'm going to see what I have installed as far as versions go. Yeah, I've got a different version of Cucumber. I wonder if they recently released a newer version of Cucumber. So I'm going to change this version of Cucumber, downgrade it, and no, I didn't mean that. I really don't think it's Babel because I'm not running anything through Babel. If I were to set that up, it would be under Cucumber Ops, and I would actually put a preset, yeah, that presets kind of thing in, actually I would set a compiler option in Cucumber Ops, but I'm not actually doing that, and I'm not doing it in my other framework either, so it shouldn't, like, yeah, it should be fine. Let me double check. Yeah, I'm not passing in a compiler there. So they released 4.0. I wonder when they, wow, that was really, they just went from 3.2 to 4.0. I wonder what is in that release. Change log. Oh, I have a new way of doing Babel. That's nice. This is really nice. I'm happy to see that. You can basically, instead of having to pass in each file name, you can pass in a glob pattern. That's going to be super nice. What do they have under Cucumber now? Waits, use of this flag, use binaries. Okay, so hopefully that's going to be the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just install CucumberJS again. Npm install CucumberJS. That was the name of it. No, it's just Cucumber. And I believe what this is going to do is delete the old one and reinstall the new one. I really don't think it's the destructuring. JS destructuring. There's actually a really good page out there. I don't know if I can find it, but it tells you what Node.js supports as far as ES6 and stuff. Node.js ES6 support table. Node.green, yeah. That's an easy one to remember. So this will actually tell you what version of Node. And then, so I'm on 8.9. And yeah, it's basically all the same results here. And we can see in here things that it supports and things it doesn't support. Let me see if I click that. Will it highlight it? No. So if we get into destructure, you see the support there is pretty solid across the board for destructuring. But if I do things like import, let me see, it doesn't have import. It might be under the word modules. I don't know, because with modules, there's a lot of debate going on, and I think there's some backwards compatibility issues as well that have to do with the module.export. Like in our config file, we do exports or modules.exports. So that's what's going on there. So yeah, that's why I don't think it's destructuring. Okay. Updated the package and moved one package. Okay. So now let's try running that and see if it's a little bit happier. If it's not, I think I might try running my test, because it might just be received inspect.path. Assert path. I'm just going to try running it. It might have to go through the WebdriverIO and setup phase, and it might have to go through this require statement as well in order for it to work correctly. Close out of that. Don't know why that popped up. Okay, so here's the Cucumber framework that we're testing. That's the standalone service. I can go back out of there. And we can actually start coming into here and changing this up. So we're going to leave this alone. Before feature is going to be our suite. Our before scenario is actually going to be the test, and the type is going to be test. Emit test start type is test. I wonder if that could be like, if that could be changed to something else. This dot running feature. Let's see. This dot running feature. So that gets set here. and the feature is equal to the event. Okay, we get the title from the scenario information, which gets passed in from the event. And real quick, set default timeout is not defined. Okay, that worked better. That actually got to a decent spot. I had a debug in there. It didn't like set default timeout, and I bet that's because that's a Cucumber thing. I'm just going to jump past that. Basically, that must have been something that changed from set default timeout to something else, or like set timeout. Who knows? But I'm just going to skip past it for now. Try running this test one more time. Seems like things are getting back on track as far as all of this goes. Okay, so I've got, before I'm starting a test instead of a suite, I want to just get rid of all of this. So I can actually delete all of this code. The only thing is I want a couple of these items. So we've got the tags. We don't need that because that's already defined. We don't need the parent because that's already defined over here, running feature. The file is already defined. Type of test is fine. Title is going to be get the title of the scenario. UID we don't need. Feature name and scenario name. I wonder where those get passed to. I am going to move those up. And instead of this .running scenario, I'm just going to do a scenario. And then delete all of that. I do want to handle the step result. And what I want to do with the step result is basically store that information so that when it's time for this, change that over to test end. When it's time for after scenario, and I can easily check to see whether it passed or not. And I wonder, since this is all using the same scenario, if I don't need to pass that around. Okay, so I got another error in the test, and rather than spend time trying to figure out why when I look at the bottom, then the element is not visible. I'm just going to ignore it. I am going to check and see under that test execution whether I'm going to look at the error, the screenshot, and oh, it didn't take a screenshot. How weird. Actually, let me check which Allure, double check that. So I don't have Allure installed. Allure, there's Allure results. I don't have Allure installed. Well, I'm going to install the Allure reporter. I think it's just npm install-g Allure. That'll give me the Allure reporter that I can run to process my results. That way we can actually look at the results and see how they come out right now. I'm actually not going to run this again because now that I think about it, having a failing test isn't such a bad thing. It'll be, and I'll actually do that there. Why did I call that homepage? If I go to the API. Oh man, I must have messed this up in some way. I will do a homepage. What was I saying? I distract myself so easily. When I look at the top, I see nav, and then I'm going to ignore that part. I'm just going to check that. So basically, I want this to be a simple test that'll just pass this is going to be a little bit more complicated, and it's going to fail on this last step for who knows why, but it will fail. Okay, now I can do Allure generate results. What do you mean it's not found? Weird. Yeah. The what I was looking at over here was making a test fail if the step result fails. So we have our step names, and then somewhere in here it tells us, yeah, we do this event emit, and what I need to change is this value to match the ID of the running scenario. So I'll copy that over, and I'll check that. The step title, file, parent, error, date, tags. Leave that, leave that, leave that. Parent is actually going to be the feature, because even though we are in a step at this point, the test that we're talking about is the scenario test, which is here. Why is that parent get unique identifier? Oh, it actually references the UID from the previous one. That's what I want. Instead of this dot scenario, I want this dot running scenario. Oops. So that'll get the unique identifier for my scenario. Step title is going to be different from that. It's going to be the scenario name. I will keep step title in there because it looks like there's some useful error reporting as far as steps not being defined and everything. We do want that. And then if I come back over here, and check out download and install. Oops. They use Brew to install it. Homebrew. I thought you could install it from Node, but I might be wrong. Why did it get uninstalled? I want to check the NPM registry to see if Allure Report is in there, and if I actually, like, running this actually did anything. It may not have. And you know, another thing is WebdriverIO has some documentation on getting this installed. Displaying the report. Let's do Allure Jenkins. Command line. Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to run. I wonder what I installed. What are you? Why are you just chilling? It's not doing anything. Please load the page. Allure, none right now. So that's what I installed. Nothing. Yay. Great. I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to install this. So that's, wow. Okay, I'll just close out of that. I was gonna see how my stream was doing because it's not. Like how my internet's doing. It's just seems a bit slow on this side, considering this. Yeah, it took forever to install. That's what I wanted. Let's see what. Updating Homebrew. I don't want to do that. That could be another issue as to why it's taken forever. Okay, so let's install that. That should go a little bit quicker than my other one. While I'm installing that, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link up this framework into my repo so that I can test it out. So to do that, you'd run npm link. And this is going to create a reference when you try installing the Cucumber framework as a dependency. Instead of pulling it down from npm.js, it's actually going to reference what you have on your local file system. So that makes it really nice for testing local changes. And it's a really neat tool to have in your toolkit for making changes to, you know, like if you wanted to change something on the WebdriverIO website, or not website, but in the framework itself, you'd probably want to do this npm link business. So to do this, it has to do a couple of things like download and things like that. So it's taking a little bit of time. But looks like my Allure installed. So while that's linking up, I'm going to make sure I have Allure installed. Now I have it installed globally, and I can run my generate. Usually it doesn't take that long to generate the results, but today everything's taking long. So what you gonna do? Link that up. Okay, while that's installing, let's see if there's anything else we can take a look at here. We got this changed over. We have our scenario name, type test file, get URI of step, that's fine. Parent is the feature error and things like that. Don't think there's anything else we got to change in this file to get this working. See here all of the different statuses that can be sent through. Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be changed. So, okay. Now we can do an Allure report open, I believe. Let me double check on the WebdriverIO site. Yeah, Allure report open. So that's going to start a local server, which is going to bog down my machine even more. Why did you not like that? Maybe they changed it? Allure generate, which is what I did. Serve the report. Open generated report. Maybe it's just Allure open. There, that was it. And it's going to open over here on my other browser. Oops. So I'll paste that in there. Okay, so this is the report that came through. You see it says, and this is the root of the problem that we're getting to, is it says 8 test cases. But there aren't really 8 test cases that happened. We only ran, well, let's see. On our run, it was just this one scenario. So it really should have just been one test case that we want it to say. And then our sweet basic website homepage. Basic website, and then it gets added to homepage. So that is kind of reported correctly. But if you look at this, you see how each step here is listed as an actual test step when, or not test step, but as an actual test itself. And that's not really what we kind of want to do. I hesitate to say that's not what we want to do because it's my opinion as far as what this should be formatted as. But if I were looking through this, I would want this suite name to be just basic website, and then homepage to be the test that I'm looking at. That seems to be a little bit more organized than having each step be its own test, because there's it's going to be a lot of steps in here, and a lot of these aren't really testing anything. So something like when I look at the top, that's not really making an assertion. So it shouldn't be its own test. Like if you were to look at this from a Mocha perspective, Mocha.js, that framework, like you have these steps in your it block, but it's not defining each step in your it block as a test. It's defining the it block itself as a test. So what I'm going to do is, now that we've got that generated, I'll stop the server, come back over here. This got linked up. Now the first thing it does is it says, it creates a global reference to Cucumber framework that points to my local Cucumber framework directory. I need to actually do one more thing, which is come over to my repo that I want to use it in and say npm link Cucumber framework. And then the other thing I want to do is just run the unit tests that are provided. I believe there are some provided. So there's probably at the very bottom development npm test. I will probably need to build the package. That would be something that I would need to do. Let's see. So this is running some linting information, and it's probably going to run some tests. Yeah, so there's some tests here. I probably will need to update the reporter tests information. This is probably going to fail because of how I changed things around. Yeah, you're going to see that the sweet start should... I was looking for the name in here. Parent, let's see. Yeah, this is going to fail entirely. Just like I said. Oh, I don't have missing a comma in here, so that's going to fail. So yeah, I'll need to update these tests, but I'm probably going to do that in a different stream because this one is reaching the max amount of time that I ever want to spend on a specific stream. Okay, so that was a failure. I'm not going to run my test anymore because I'm pretty sure that things are going to fail. And what I am going to do is build the code base. That way, when I have this linked, so you can see, here's that WebdriverIO Cucumber folder. It has my node modules folder inside of it. And then for this dependency, it's actually pointing to the global dependency, or the global install, global being global to my machine, to my laptop, which points to the local install of Cucumber Framework. So that's a little bit of linking that goes on. And so now when we try to load Cucumber Framework, try to require it via WebdriverIO, it's going to point to my local install instead of the one it pulled down from from that word, and that word is npm.js. Strange, it didn't like npm build, but wanted npm run build instead. Let me see. Under package JSON. Yep, there's build. Oh, so it does compile this through Babel. So there's some more Babel for you. So it's building out everything. So there's the 3 files that it's got to build out. There's the one that we're paying attention to. So now if I run npm test, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that everything is working. I do need gigabandwidth. I agree. I just now got some chat messages. Speaking of needing gigabandwidth, I'm just now getting these chat messages. There's a question, can I set the report to silent to mute the API call in the report? Not quite sure what you mean. And then it's also, there's a note on how they're out of order in this report. I didn't notice that. But yeah, you're right. This debug shouldn't be number 1. Debug was like down here somewhere. That's a good point. Oh, it's ordered by name. No, that's, I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Isn't that strange? I guess that's probably another reason why we wouldn't want the steps to be part of here, is that it doesn't get the order right. And I think that has to do with the fact that this is an event loop, and so the event loop isn't necessarily synchronous. So when this step completes, it's going to trigger a step result or step complete event, I believe. Let me see, handle step result. Let me think, because there was that hooks in here, hook runner. And what hook runner does, there are these Cucumber events. Let's see, execute hooks with args through WebdriverIO sync handle before step, handle step result. So it's going to see, let's see, hook runner. So in reporter, I'm probably, no, I'm not. I thought I was going to be loading hook runner in. I wonder if that gets loaded in from the adapter, like it all gets combined in. But basically, when the step completes, handle step result, oh, sorry, this handle step result, it fires an event, but that event kind of just gets thrown out there, and it sits there for a second, kind of like in a purgatory kind of state, until the event listener is ready to process the event, and it'll pull it from that purgatory state. And so if this debug gets thrown out after or before all the other events have been processed, it can be in an incorrect order. So that's probably what we're seeing here if I were to guess what's going on. Oh yeah, all this is going to be 404. Fine. Okay, so those Allure tests were all WebdriverIO API calls. They're actually not, I say they're API calls, they are going to the API page and doing tests in there. So that's just the name of my test, is API. It's not actually API call. Oh, property bind if undefined. Oh boy. Something went wrong in my reporter on line 78. 78. There's only one bind in here. Oh, and you know what? That's the generated one, so that line isn't correct. Oh man, this stack frame, or stack trace. Stack frame, I don't even know what a stack frame is. Stack trace is just something. Cucumber report. So reporter line 78. Cucumber reporter prototype function name. Oh, you know what? So I had deleted the handle before step, but I still have it up here. So I will delete that. So I had deleted the function, but it was still in here. And then in this, it would add a listener, and it would try to add the function that was no longer there. So that's what happened there. We'll run the build again. And try it again. That's one of those little bugs that can really get you, because all you did was delete a function, not knowing that it's also tied in up here. And then you look at this and you're thinking, why is bind having issues? And you know, if bind was used elsewhere, that would be even more confusing, because the line that was talked about up here, line 78, isn't actually the line that is in our file, because it gets transpiled through Babel. So it's just it's a whole layer of things. And then you look at this, and I was looking at Cucumber Reporter thinking this was a third-party module, but really Cucumber Reporter is itself. So it's basically referencing itself, looking at the prototype on it. So when we define a class, all these functions on here are getting added to the prototype of Cucumber Reporter, which at the very bottom gets exported out, and you create a new Cucumber Reporter. So it's my scroll wheel stopped working. What in the world? Things are breaking. My keyboard is no longer working either. Well, that works, but that works. I just can't switch screens anymore. Oh, fun. Let's see. Do I have... There. Okay. Strange. What if I... Hey, sorry about that. My computer just completely died. Everything just froze and everything, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. So let's see. That's that. I didn't know I had a live chat on there. Interesting. Okay, looks like it's picking back up. And we can get this going again. I'm definitely going to have to invest in better hardware to keep this up. Okay, so what was going on is we were trying to run this test, and let's see, we were having issues with the bind, and I think I was just restarting the test, and we were waiting for it to start back up when everything kind of went just to death. So one thing that I changed is I got rid of one of my screens, my laptop screen. I closed the lid on it. Hopefully that takes less processing power now, so it should run a little bit smoother, we hope. But let's see if I move that over. You can see the test running. Okay, so that actually, wow, that went through pretty fast. Did our homepage test, did our failing test, basic website, the API failed. That's the dot reporter. It'd be nice if we could get the spec reporter going as well, but I don't want to mess with that. We did this failure was expected. Let's see if we have Allure still installed, which Allure we do. So we're going to do Allure generate, and then Allure results. And then there was a question on, is this going to be available for uploading? Yes, it will. I'm going to edit it, get rid of all the waiting for things and all that, get that all edited, and then we'll upload it to YouTube when I'm done. So I'm going to run clean on there to get rid of that old report, since that old report had some information that we really didn't want at that point. Now we can do the Allure open. That's going to open up the file, the server, and it opens up in the other browser, because I've got two browsers going. Here we go. It still says we have 10 test cases. Basic website homepage and basic website. Oh, you know what? I bet this is still the old one. Yeah, that's still the old one. You can see here on the new one, here's the API. Cool. Test body. What's under these attachments? Request and response. That's pretty nice. So for the most part, this is what I want it to look like. I do wish these were the step names instead of the body items. So I wonder if we can change that. But first, I'm going to remove Allure results. Just completely wipe out that directory. I'm going to run my test again because I want to get rid of this basic website homepage to avoid any confusion. While that is running, I'm going to go into my reporter again, and let's see. Step result. And then under title, emit test. Just wondering where. There's our failing pass again, so now I can run that. Yeah, I'm wondering where this this test body comes from. It's too late now. I was wondering if I could look and see in this instance if it also reported the test body. I guess I can go to Allure, the demo that they have, and check it out there. So if I go to suites, that. See, yeah, it does have the name in here of the step that's occurring. So that's really what I'd like to see. Two-step, substeps. Test body. What is triggering this information? I don't know. Sure, now it opens in here. Okay, that is better. 2 test cases, 1 suite total. Features by story. API and homepage. Homepage. Yeah, the only thing I want to do is check out this test body and figure out how we can get it to be the step name itself. Ooh, that is a fun little bug. And then here's the broken test. So yeah, I think overall I like this change. It's a lot cleaner over here under behaviors or suites. You know, it's kind of the same idea. The only thing is, see, categories, that's fine. I really would like these to have the right body. But I think I've pushed my computer to the max that it can go to today. So what I'll probably do is pick this back up on the next recording and try updating that. But first, I'm going to just check out how I changed the items. Test start, let's see. Does it have title step name? Could it be as simple as changing that over? So handle step result, and then under the title, instead of that, I do step name. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I think I'm gonna try it out. Oh man, things seem to be running a lot faster now. I wonder what it was that I shut down that was causing all the issues, because that build ran so much faster than before. Yeah, I don't have timing on here, but and then these tests are starting up a lot faster and running a lot faster as well. Yeah, that runs so much faster. Okay, Allure, generate Allure results, and then I'll just do Allure open right after that. So I'm basically tying those 2 commands together. No, I don't. Use clean option. I guess I have to clean it. So clean must just wipe out the report that gets generated, but not the results. It doesn't get rid of the results. And then refresh this page. Oh, it's a different page on a different port. 3 test cases. Yeah, see, that's not what I wanted. And yeah, it didn't fix that at all. So that's not what I wanted to do. I'll have to look at that next time. That will be topic for a later episode. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in. I'm going to commit to rename change emitted events. Test to X, actually to step. Kind of like that. I can update that commit message later if I'd like to. Okay, so I pushed that up there. I'll paste this in chat if you want to give it a look at. If we come back here. You can see here's that updated, and I'll paste that in chat. So that should be in chat. And so we'll take a look at getting this bit working better next time I'm on. I don't know next time I'm going to be on. It's not going to be next week. I am not going to be, I'm not going to be able to next week. So probably 2 weeks from now. And that might actually be my schedule going forward, is every 2 weeks, Thursday at noon. Hopefully noon, not noon 30, or whenever I get around to figuring out the setup and everything. Hopefully I can get a little bit better at that and not take so much time. But I really appreciate everyone sticking around and watching and asking questions. Those are some great questions. I think there was one question I didn't get to, which was, it might have to do with the API calls in Allure, and basically kind of what I was looking at. So maybe that was a similar item, and maybe we can get it solved next time. But in the meantime, I did want to mention my course. One of the reasons I talked about Cucumber today was because I've just added 5 videos on my course going over Cucumber, the Cucumber boilerplate, adding new features, new steps, and then advanced steps as well. Looks like I'm going to have to update some of this stuff with as soon as Cucumber Framework adapts version 4.0 of, and I don't know if they have it in there, of Cucumber. Upgraded latest. So there's nothing there for 4.0 right now, but probably soon we'll see that. And we'll probably have to change how you do your require to load in the modules, to load in Babel if you're using Babel. But for now, this module is up there, and I've got a 40% off the course using Cuc 2008, and that, or 2018, 2008. It's been a while since then. That expires tomorrow night on Saturday, so it's only good till Friday night. And let me think. This automatically gets applied whenever you go through the checkout right now. So just want to let y'all know about that. And then tomorrow, if I can make it work, I want to give a workshop on just the basics of WebdriverIO. Let's see, is that what it's called? Yeah. So I've got this workshop that I put together a while back, and it just goes through WebdriverIO, setting it up with Mocha, how to use common commands, utility commands, things like that. So I'm going to be setting that up. If you want information on that, I'll probably email everyone, all of my students on it. And if you're signed up for my mailing list, it'll also go out for that, which you can sign up by doing a free trial on my course. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to do this on YouTube as a live stream, kind of like today, just going through the workshop instead, or if it's going to be through some other channel. I'd really like to get a little bit better as far as the chat feedback goes and being able to see people's screens and everything, or at least be able to see the code that they're running. That way you can debug it a little bit better. But I've got to figure that out today, so I won't have that information out there. But yeah, you can reach me on Twitter as well. I'll post it on there. So I'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for it. In the meantime, I appreciate all y'all watching. Thanks for tagging along, and we'll see you next time. Bye.